The 49ers have OTAs and a lot of players are there, but most of the captains aren't. Or they're there and they're not practicing. We're talking Trent Williams, not there. Fred Warner, there but watching. Nick Bosa, there but watching. George Kittle, there but watching and rehabbing. And the captains that are on the field are Debo Samuel and Brock Purdy, and that's it. So let's talk about the nature of being a captain and what it means that these captains aren't there, Dad.
Okay, well, first of all, it's very important to be a captain.
Yes.
A lot of teams, they even have a C on their helmet or on their uniform. It's first of all, it's an honor.
Mhm.
You represent the best the team has to offer as a player, as a leader, and in your character. In addition, it shows leadership. It helps inculcate a culture into a locker room and into a team. A captain comports himself a certain way. Joe Montana comported himself a certain way, and people looked at Joe. How do I learn? Steve Young comported himself a certain way. Oh, that's the 49er way. That's what they expect of me. I'm learning from my peers, not from the coaches. So, Iggy, are you saying that 4 of 6 captains either did not show up or did not participate?
Right. And the seventh captain was Eric Armstead, who's gone.
Well, so he's
Mhm.
as John Gruden would say, he's irrelative.
Yes.
But 66% of the captains did not show up or participate. Well, in terms of leadership, in terms of bringing a team together, those captains were not performing their function. Now, I know a lot of people here are 49er diehard fans. God love you, thank God. But it's how I feel. So I want to tell you a story that Iggy knows, but Tom Homo, you've heard of him. He was safety at the Niners, right, Iggy?
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, and a hell of a safety. He was briefly the football coach at Cal, and he didn't do a good job. And then he went to BYU, where he's been for a long time the athletic director. And I can tell you that anyone who knows Tom Homo knows that he is a wonderful person, the most decent, normal, straightforward guy. In 1992, he was writing a master's thesis to get his master's. And he asked me as a courtesy if I would read it to see if there were any fixes I would suggest, if the grammar was okay and all that. It was splendid. All I had to do was tell him I love it. The subject was captains. He thought that the honorary role of a captain was so important on the 49ers. He wrote his whole master's thesis on captaincy and got his master's. Um, that's how he was never a captain, and that's how much the concept meant to him as a player on those great 49er teams that actually won Super Bowls. So one day he needed input from Joe Montana because Joe was the greatest and Joe had been a captain. So he phoned Joe at home, but he was so nervous, and they had been teammates. He was so nervous to talk to Joe because one, Joe was Joe Montana, and two, Joe had been a captain. So Homo, who is a very composed man, was babbling on the phone. He was saying things too quick. He couldn't get his questions out, and finally, Joe Montana, who's a nice man, had to say, "Tom, calm down. We're teammates. Take your time. I'll answer all your questions." And Joe, of course, came through and was wonderful. And Tommy Homo wrote this just great thesis on being a captain. And when I read it, I learned a lot about it. And I mostly learned how really important it is it was in a great 49ers locker room. That's my story, Iggy.
It's a good story. And what's interesting is like comparing these Niners to those Niners, like they were just a mere lemonade stand, but when they got to the Super Bowl, they won it. So there was something that they were doing right. Something they was doing right. And I didn't cover those teams you did. No, it was a long time ago. I would imagine it was a different era. Guys like Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, they didn't just show up and watch. I feel like with Jerry Rice, you'd have to hold him back. You'd have to
You
tell him,
still Iggy, you still have to hold Jerry Rice
right.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The idea of, and I don't understand if this is a new thing in the NFL, but like establishing, reaching a certain level of performance, like I'm a Pro Bowler, I'm an All Pro, or I make a lot of money. And so OTAs really aren't for me. Those are for the young guys. Let them get the extra reps. They don't need me out there. Yeah, they do need you out there. They need you
Yes.
to be the captain that they elected you to be. Set the standard every day. This is how we practice. Isn't that what Jerry Rice would do? This is how I practice. I'm the best.
Absolutely. And another thing, it shows I care.
I care.
I'm going to get my butt out there. I'm going to sweat. Even though I'm a vet, I have a lot of money and I'm a captain. I'm going to get my butt out there because I care, and I care to show you, to mentor you, and to help us create a team. Because every single season, you have to go through creating the team yet again. And I want
Yeah.
to tell you something else. When I used to sometimes talk to Steve Young, which was quite often in the football season, only about football, he talked about something he learned when he joined the 49ers. And he said, we have it, IT, capital I, we have it. And he said it's hard to define, but anyone in that locker room, these are championship locker rooms, knows what it is. And it is the 49er way. Iggy, I don't know if there's a 49er way anymore. I don't know if there's it anymore. And I'll tell you why. One of the reasons is because Fred Warner didn't get his butt out onto the field. He thought standing there was it. Brock Purdy played.
Debo played.
He participated. Debo played. That's it. Standing there isn't it. And I want to tell you an irony in this. You know where Fred Warner went to college.
BYU.
Where Tommy Homo is the athletic director. And
right.
Homo, I've never met him, Fred, but Homo really thinks he's a wonderful guy. And I take Tommy's word for it. Well, I think he'd be a little disappointed to know that his guy stood there, his arms across his chest, thinking that standing there was it. It is not standing there. It is participating like Debo did. That's it.
You know, Fred Warner, middle linebacker, you're the quarterback of the defense. It kind of matters whether you're out there. Imagine if the quarterback of the offense, Brock Purdy, decided, you know what? I was fourth in the MVP voting last year. I'm going to get paid $1 bajillion next year. I got to protect my investment. It's not worth it to me to be in these practices. I could get hurt. You know, I could trip. I could fall. I could pop an Achilles. These things happen. And so, you know what, Josh Dobbs, these are great reps for Josh Dobbs and Brandon Allen. I will catch up with you guys. What if he did that? He can't. So why is everyone else doing it? It was crazy last week when week 1 of OTA started. Bosa showed up and practiced, and it was like a freaking parade. Oh, congratulations, Nick! Wow, it's so great that you would do that. And they asked Brock Purdy, "What does it mean that Bosa's here practicing?" And he goes, "You know, it's just so big because if Bosa's practicing, that shows that it really matters." Cut to the next week, he's not practicing.
Right, he's standing there like Warner, right?
Yeah,
he was there with Warner, and he was. And the message, we're talking about messages, by the way. The theme is messages. The message is, all I got to do is stand there. Mm-hmm. All I got to do is stand there, and that shows leadership. Baloney. I don't think so. I don't like it.
Also, the captain is supposed to be one of the guys. Like, you're the captain of the team, not of this select core group of players. I joke around and call them the Cabo Clique. They call themselves the core group on the team. And I object to the premise. You're a team. There's not a team within a team. It's not like Oakland and Piedmont inside. That's how they treat themselves. There's like Oakland, and then there's this little neighborhood of millionaires, and it's completely separate from the rest of the city. That's the Niners core group. And you'll hear Kittle talk about it. Well, we still got our core group here. Well, your core group hasn't gotten it done. Your core group's getting older, and it's supposed to be one team.
I like your Piedmont reference. That was really nice, Iggy.
You know what I'm saying? Like a city within a city, like Piedmont or Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So, captains, get your butt in the building. Errol Tolbert says, how are the quarterbacks looking? pretty good. I mean, it's hard to look as good as Brandon Allen does, but they all look pretty good. But is Brandon Allen creating a quarterback controversy? It's too early to say. Too early to say.